Good morning. Today you're going to be completing topic 11, lesson 7 in your math packet this morning. So if you haven't gotten this paper out already, go ahead and get it out. We're going to be working with modeling with math today, and we'll go ahead and get started. So your I can statement today says that I can model my thinking to solve problems. So that's what we're going to work with today. So hang this up here. Okay, so let's start by looking at our little talk bubble at the top of your page in the green. You can follow along with me while I read it aloud to you. It says Val picks 40 strawberries. She shares 20 of them with her brother. How many strawberries did Val keep for herself? How can modeling your thinking help you solve this problem? So I'm going to slide my paper up a little bit so it's still on the screen. I can at least point to it even though you can't read it, but then I have this space to work here. Okay, so let's use red since we're talking about strawberries. So Val picks 40 strawberries and she gives 20 of them to her brother. So what they want us to find out is how many strawberries did she keep for herself. So I want you to look right here at this little cloud on the side of your paper. So there's some different ways that we can model our thinking. Okay, so we can use a drawing. So I could draw circles to represent my strawberries. That would be one way. I could use a diagram. Maybe it might be a diagram like this. So she picks 40 strawberries. She gives 20 to her brother. How many did she keep for herself? So that could be like a diagram. Or we could kind of consider that a table as well. So there's some different ways. I could do drawings. I could do a table or a diagram like this. I could even use some subtraction strategies that not 60, that we've talked about. So she picks 40. She gives 20 to her brother. Okay, so we could subtract like that. We could use that number line. Let's see, how low can I go here? We could use a number line to model it. So she picks 40. She gives 20 to her brother. So let's count back by tens. 30. Oops. I was counting up. 20, 10, and then of course over here would be 0. Okay, so we could use a number line. There's all kinds of different ways that we could solve this equation. And here they want us to write the equation at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to use multiple ones of these here for us to practice with, and then we'll also write that equation. So right now we know, let's look at what we know. We know that she picks 40 strawberries. So in that first blank, yours looks like this. You have a blank. I want to make sure I stay on the screen. A circle for your mathematical operation, another blank, your equal sign, and then the answer for the difference in your problem. So we know that Val picks 40. If she gives some to her brother, is she putting more with the 40 that she picked, or is she taking some of that 40 away and giving it to her brother? If you said she's taking it away, you're correct. So if we're taking away some, we need to put a subtraction symbol in our circle there. Okay, so 40 minus, and we can look back here and see that she shares 20 with her brother. So 40 minus 20 equals, okay, well, let's use our number line to help us solve. So we start at 40. We know that each hop, because our number line is counting by tens, each hop is a minus 10. Okay, so how many tens? If she gave 20 away, how many tens do we have in the number 20? We have 2 tens, so I'm going to need to take 2 tens away. So here's my other hop for another minus 10. There's my 2 tens that I took away, and we landed on 20. So Val keeps 20 for herself, and she gave 20 to her brother. So she split those strawberries right in half to share with her brother, okay? If I had used this model here, where did my eraser go? Keeps falling. Sorry about that. If I had used this chart here, let me move it up a little bit. My part whole chart, okay? So if my whole is 40 and I've got 20, how much do I have to count up to get to 40? Well, I can put 20 in my head and I can count on by 10. So 20, 30, 40. Okay, so it took me 2 tens to get to 20. So on my part whole map, I could have 20. So 20 and 20 equals 40. Okay, I could do a drawing, but it would take me a while to do that. So she has 40, so that means I would need 4 rows of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's on the screen, yes, and I have to do that 4 times. Okay, so there's 10 in each row, so 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, we know she gives 20 to her brother, so we're going to circle 2 rows of 10. Okay, and that leaves 2 rows of 10 left. So I could use a drawing to show that, or I could do this way here. Okay, I could subtract my ones and my tens. Now remember, if you do it this way, you always, always, always start with your ones places. So 0 minus 0 equals, yes, 0. And then 4 minus 2 equals 2. Okay, so if I were to box all of these, so you could do a chart like this, a part whole. You could subtract like this. You could use a number line to model your thinking. You could use a drawing, and then you have an equation. Okay, so lots of different ways that we could solve that problem. Okay, so if you were writing in your equation on your paper, this would have been the equation that you would have written in, because they've written it this way. Okay, so it also says, how can I make my model better if it doesn't work? So if you solve it one way and it didn't work for you, and you may want to even try to solve it 2 ways and make sure you get the same answer each time, okay? Because if you do something twice and you get the same answer, your answer is probably correct, okay? All right, so let's lift up and turn to the next page. And they're going to give us some examples of some ways to model on this side. So you're looking at your green boxes. Okay, and in this first box, it says Nate has 70 green apples. And you can see they've got a green apple here to represent that. He has 30 red apples. How many more green apples does Nate have than red ones? So how can I model this problem is her question. So here's what she's thinking. You can see her green thought bubble here. It says I can use pictures, objects, and equations to solve this problem. Then I can decide if my model makes sense, okay? So I will draw a picture and write an equation. So her picture, instead of her drawing out individual, because she's got a lot, she has 70, okay? Instead of her drawing 1 for each apple, she's done it a different way here. If you look at her example, she's drawn a picture. She made squares, green squares for the green apples, red squares for the red apples. And she basically, you could kind of think of those as boxes of apples. She's put 10 apples in each box. So if we count her boxes and count by tens, we should have, well, let's see. How many more green? Yes, we should have 70 green apples. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. There's our 70 green apples. And it said she had 30 red apples. So 10, 20, 30. So 70 minus 30 equals, well, I can match up each one of these right here, okay? For this green box, I have a red box. For this green box, I have a red box. And for this green box, I have a red box. But when I get to this next one, I no longer have red boxes. So how many more green boxes do I have? I have 4 green boxes and there's 10 apples in each one. So I'm going to count by tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40. So 70 minus 30 equals 40, okay? Remember back when we first started this, we worked with this kind of subtraction. 7 tens minus 3 tens equals 4 tens. So Nate has, if he has 4 tens, that's 10, 20, 30, 40. So Nate has 40 more green apples, okay? And she said, I can show my work in another way, okay? So she showed it in a different way here. She modeled it and showed it here. Then she showed it here with numbers and words, okay? So in this Do You Understand Show Me box, it says, in the example above, how do the boxes of 10 help model the problem? Okay, well, it's kind of easier if we can, oops, sorry about that, if we can put things in groups that have even numbers, like groups of 10. Okay, so that helps us to see this. Okay, and this is a whole lot easier to see than even this. When I circled this, I made 2 groups of 10 right there, and my rows had 10 circles going across. So I still have groups of 10, but I could have drawn, instead of having to draw all 40 circles, I could have drawn a square or a box and put a 10 in it and only drawn 4 boxes for my 4 tens, okay? And then I could have taken 2 of them away and it would have still been the same way, okay? So let's look at your guided practice. It says use drawings, models, or equations to solve. It's up to you. Whatever works best for you is what you're going to do, okay? Now, let's look at number 1. It says a store has 60 muffins. It sells 30 of the muffins. How many muffins does the store have now? So they've done the boxes of 10. So they started out with 60 muffins, and you can see before they exited out, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes of 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus one more would be 60. So 6 boxes of 10. They sold 30 of them. So they have to X out 10, 20, 30. How many did that leave them left? Okay, they had 30 muffins left. Okay, you're going to go back and solve number 2 on your paper and have your parent or whoever you're staying with check your problem before you begin today's assignment. Okay, so if you look on the back, and I would probably strongly encourage you, you don't have to do this, but I would encourage you to use this model right here to help you and draw yours that same way. It's just easy to see. It's not confusing. It's just, I just think it's an easy way to do these problems. Okay, and if I were doing it, if this were my assignment, that's what I would do. Okay, so it says use drawings, models, and equations to solve, explain your work. It's the same over here, okay? You're not gonna be with me, so you can explain that to your parents, explain how you solved it if they're going over your paper with you, okay? So I'll read over the problems with you. Now, if you notice, there's only 3 problems on this side. Number 3 says, Viola has 80 stickers. Dean has 60 stickers. How many more stickers does Viola have than Dean? So that's very much like the green apples and the red apples, okay? So you could draw the boxes of 10 for Viola's stickers, and you could draw the boxes of 10 for Dean's stickers, and just make sure you draw enough for her that she has 80 and enough for him that he has 60. Okay, and you'll draw those over here. Okay, and I would organize it. Don't just do random patterns with your drawings. See how these are in lines? So these are vertical. You can do them vertical like that, or you can even do them horizontal because these boxes are kind of more of a horizontal shape. Okay, so once you figured out your answer, you're going to put it here. Okay, you could also just solve it by using an equation. Okay, so you find your important numbers in there and just make sure you put the right number in the right spot to solve and find your answer. And again, these are working with subtraction, so everything's going to be a minus sign, okay? Number 4 says Carla has a book with 50 pages. She reads 20 pages. How many pages does she have left to read? Okay, again, you'll make your model or your equation or whatever you choose to do to solve it, and then make sure when I look at your papers, I'm going to look, does your model match the number that you have on the blank? Do not forget to put that number on the blank. If you do, we'll send it back to you just like I would do at school. Number 5, a store has 72 toy cars. It sells 10 cars. How many cars does the store have left? Okay, so he's got 72 toy cars. He sells 10 of them at his store. How many does he have left? You need a drawing or an equation or something here, and then put your answer here when you've solved. Okay, and let's look at your next page. Okay, so these questions are going to go with this one story problem here. Okay, it says, it's a little story problem called dog walking. It says James, Emily, and Simon walk dogs after school. On Monday, they have 40 dogs to walk. James and Emily take 20 of the dogs. So James and Emily together take 20. Okay, 2 people take 20 of the dogs for a walk. How many dogs are left to walk? Okay, so number 6 says, what problem do you need to solve? So you're going to write the equation here that you would solve. Okay, and the equation is the numbers. What's the subtraction problem that you would solve? Number 7 says, what tool or tools can you use to solve this problem? So that's basically what kind of strategy would you use to solve that? And number 8 says, write an equation to show the problem, then use pictures, words, or symbols to solve. So this is the line where you're going to write the equation and put your answer. This is where you'll solve it, work it out with your model, and then write your answer there to match. Okay? All right. Thank you. Good luck.